Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode of Can't Save 'Em All, working on the 54 model. Guys, this is a huge milestone. The truck actually rolled out on its own brand new wheels and tires for the first time. A lot of work has gone into this truck. There's still a long ways to go. We finally got the rear end situated. I think the rear end should push back another 2 inches or so. We have not welded the perches yet. We wanted to verify that the pinion angle was correct first. The motor and transmission are now sitting in their resting spot. We have the 5.3 with the BTR truck Norris cam, the Monster 700R. We've got one header mocked up on the passenger side. It is extremely tight fit. As you see that last tube there on top of the chassis, it's very close. We may have to notch the chassis just a little bit. One of the issues we run into was the steering box. I don't know how good you can tell there. There's only about 2¼ inches. I need another 2 inches of clearance between the engine and the steering box. So I've already pushed it out as far as I can. As you see where it goes through the firewall, it's already touching on that side. I'm gonna have to notch that out. There's really no good way to do this. If I had the time, we'd do a full suspension overhaul on it, get rid of the straight axle, swap steering columns, steering box, the whole 9 yards, but don't have the budget nor the time for that. So we're gonna push it over as far as we can, build us a new mounting bracket, try to retain the same holes and same geometry, and hopefully get enough clearance to get the new header on. Just wanted to give you an update where we are. Still a lot left to do. I have the new wheel spacers in. We have issue with the tie rod making contact with the inside of the tire. So I'll show you the list of parts that are left. So starting with fire, we've got some MSD spark plugs, we've got our plug wires, we've got our coil packs, we've got the rest of our sensors, we've got a circuit block and fuse set up. I want to run everything on fresh brand new wiring. We've got a new ignition switch. This truck had a floor start. You actually pushed a button in the floor to start it. So this key right here has an actual start position. We have our computer controller. We're going with the MSD ignition control system. So that covers all of the fire. Now the fuel, we have our regulator, all of our AN hose fittings, our hose still in the box, throttle pedal, fuel pump, regulator. We've got our harmonic balancer left to put on. And if you don't have the tool, I highly recommend going ahead and buying a specific tool for the LS's. A lot of people will try to take this bolt and beat the balancer on as far as they can and then pull the rest of the way in with the factory bolt. Just keep in mind the depth. You're not going to get but just a thread and a half, maybe, if you're lucky. And once you strip that out, you are 100% screwed. So just for redundancy's sake, I bought 2 different kits. I'll give you a heads up on which kit I think is the best. So one's a Summit brand, one is an ICT Billet brand. So after we get the balancer on, we have our alternator bracket, a new tensioner. That is the accelerator cable and kickdown cable bracket that'll fit the Holley fuel injection. And I know y'all are gonna laugh. 6-lug wheel spacer, 5-lug wheel spacer. So we're running the factory 6-lug on the front. We've got the 68 Camaro rear end, 5 on 4 3/4. Lug space for the back. Got our brake parts. We're gonna go with a B&M ratchet shifter. We've got our high boy tunnel mount there to get it up off the floor. Brand new shifter cable. We've got 2 different sets of torque converter bolts. Once again, redundancy, just to make sure we've got it covered. We're getting down to the wire. So we've got our transmission cooler that was used on another project before, and then our transmission dip tube. So that's the parts that are left. I'm going to try to keep everything organized on this table, and hopefully over the next few days the parts on this table gets a lot smaller. But we have been thrashing on this project. Even the dog's tired. So I'm taking a little bit of time to reset. Going to get this old rear end out of here. The 75 pounds of dirt and grease that has dropped onto the ground over here. Try to get everything cleaned up and get this project finished up. We're slowly, surely getting our exhaust parts in. So running resonators. Got a whole nother set of boxes over here just for the exhaust. So I'm going to build that myself. I doubt I'll get it all the way out the back, but at least we'll get some collectors on the headers and get some resonators put on it. I'm pretty happy with the way that the truck is sitting right now. The tires that come off of the truck were about 29 inches tall. These are 27, so it did lower the truck down a little bit. You still got a pretty good gap up there at the top of the fender, between the fender and the top of the tire. But I think by the time I get all the fluids and water in it, it'll settle out just a little bit. It appears to be about a ½ inch higher in the front than in the back. So like I said, the perches have not been welded. The transmission cross member has not been welded, nor the motor mounts. So we still have a little bit of room for adjustment. I'll show you the motor mount now. I don't know how good you can see that, but this is actually a slip joint right here. So after I get that flange bolted to the inside of the chassis, I'll take either a TIG rig or a MIG gun and loop around that piece of pipe there. Got to do that on both sides, and the transmission cross member is a similar configuration. So we're still trying to make LS Fest. It's got to be real since we got the sticker on the front windshield, right? So we're doing everything we can to get this thing wrapped up by then. We basically have 2 weeks left. I've still got to mount the new fuel tank, full fuel system, all the ignition components. I'll show you the fuel cell over here. This fuel cell will actually mount up underneath the bed. So we're going to be able to remove the one from behind the cab. I don't really like riding with 20 gallons of gasoline directly behind my head. They run it like that for years, but I just think that's a little risky. So the old gas tank will be coming out from behind the seat. And I doubt we'll have much time to do anything cosmetically on the truck. Got to adjust some door latches and stuff like that. I wish I had time to make the old foot start. You see the big old gaping hole over there on the right on the other side of the accelerator. That's where your foot pedal start was. I thought it'd be pretty cool to have the LS fired off of that too, but don't really have time for all the knick-knack stuff. I wish I did. I should have started this project a lot sooner, but this was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. We decided we wanted to jump on it and tackle it and see if we can make it happen. So we appreciate you following us on this journey. I'll do my best to keep you updated. I'm going to take a few minutes to reset and clean and tidy the shop up. I'll start working on pinion angle, adjusting the steering box, and hopefully be able to get some motor mounts and transmission cross member and leaf spring perches welded in. So once again, we appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok, and have a good one.